What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel on a Monday. We are going to be diving into the latest rumors and updates across baseball. We had a weekend full of news, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it all down. So make sure to hit that like. Again, if this is your favorite time of the year like it is for me, hit that like and subscribe if you're new. If you're just finding the channel, make sure to subscribe. And you see in the corner the FanDuel logo. They are a sponsor. We'll talk about the Ball Cap Sports Thanksgiving contest that I will be creating tomorrow, and you guys will hopefully be sending me usernames so we can do all this thing, do a contest together. So we got a lot to talk about, though. We are going to talk about Suzuki posting, finally, with lots of talk about him. We're going to take a look at his swing. We're going to take a look at his stats. We're going to dive into Suzuki. We do have, minutes before coming on, word from Jon Heyman that Alcantara is working on an extension with the Marlins. We're going to talk about that. We've got a trade that happened. I believe it was late Friday. We're going to dive into that. Couple free agents signed. We hear more about what the A's are looking for from Olson. The Yankees make some headlines, surprise some people with some DFAs. And the Jays are targeting 3 pitchers. 2 of them we're familiar with. And we're going to dive into all of that. So, again, I hope everybody had a great weekend. Again, we are live here to do this breakdown and talk about what is going on across baseball. And I think it makes sense to start with really the biggest news, in my opinion, on the day. Could be one of the biggest free agent signings if things go down right. And that is going to be that Suzuki, Seiya Suzuki, has been posted. That is the news. It is today. It is going down. He is going to have until December 22nd to get a deal done. And if he doesn't get a deal done, he'll go back to his team. There's a lot going on. There is money. There's math. There's all of this and all that about how much. And listen, let's not worry about that right now. We can dive into that when we get a group of teams, when we get teams battling, when we start hearing numbers. Right now, we don't know anything because he's being posted today. But we do know he's a really good player. We know that he's got a lot in there. We're going to take a look at his swing. Just absolutely murders the ball. And what I like about this swing is that it's compact. There's not a lot of crap around it. There's not a lot of herky-jerky. There's not a lot of movement before. It's a nice, solid swing. I know it's not like Mike Trout's swing, but it reminds me just a compact frame. The hands move with a purpose to hit the ball and not look cute before or after or during. I like Suzuki, so we see him murdering a ball right here. And again, we take a look at everything about the hips, the wrists, the arms, the line from the head to the front foot. It looks beautiful. So Suzuki looks like a beast, and we take a look at him over and over here. And on top of that, we've got his stats. How's he looking from a statistic point of view? Pretty good. All right, this guy is a beast. He plays in the outfield. He's got last year a 38 homer season. An OPS over 1,000 for the last couple of seasons. Came up big in the Olympics with a couple of hits in the gold medal game. So Seiya Suzuki looks like he is the real deal, and he's going to do something big for somebody. Now, the question is, where is Suzuki going to wind up? And that is where, to this point, for now, we are going to have to trust the insiders on where that may land. Jon Heyman was on Hot Stove this morning talking about how Suzuki could wind up on a West Coast team. Didn't expect the Angels to get into it because their bats, you understand the pitching is the focus for the Angels. So where could Suzuki actually land? And you know what? Since it's kind of Seiya Suzuki Day, let's take a look at some finalists. I got 4 finalists for Suzuki. I do think Seattle. I think the Giants will get in the mix. I think the Mets will become a player. And I think the Blue Jays will become a player. Remember, the Blue Jays were a player for Ha-Seong Kim. They were a finalist for Kim. The only reason why that deal didn't go down is the Blue Jays were not willing to offer a no minors deal. That's why Ha-Seong Kim went to the Padres. Ha-Seong Kim went to the Padres and barely played. but he didn't have to go to the minor leagues. The Blue Jays were one of the final teams for Kim, but would not offer that in the contract. This is a kind of player where you don't need to offer that. He is going to be ready. We're talking about, listen, the comparisons, right-handed Hideki Matsui are there. There's a ton of upside here. There is more, in my opinion, polish and readiness for this guy than maybe there was for Ha-Seong Kim. Mark seeing that the Braves are interested. You could see the Cardinals, Miami. There's a lot of teams that could get in the mix. These are my final four. Certainly in the days ahead, we will start hearing news because teams will get into it. But from the start, it feels like Seattle, San Francisco, the Mets, or the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, again, I think they will be linked to most players, and they always seem to get in on the international market. So I think the Blue Jays will be there. I think Seattle will be there. The only thing that could prevent Seattle from being there is their current situation. Seattle rolling with, J-Rod very soon. You got Kyle Lewis. You got Kelnick. You've got Haniger, who probably shapes up to be a DH at this point. And then you still have Taylor Trammell looming out there. So a lot of pieces for Seattle to figure out. There's not really much room. Now, this guy does have a little bit of versatility. You can move him out of the outfield, bring him to the infield. So maybe Seattle could work out in that fashion. San Francisco, we know, needs to add some pieces, and they're one of the West Coast teams that I think could get into it. And the Mets. I think the Mets are going to be very, very aggressive. So where do you have him signing? Comment below. Comment live in the chat. Where do you see Suzuki going? I'll give you my post. I'm going to eliminate one by one. Ultimately, I think the Giants bow out. I don't think the Giants get into the mix. The Mariners, I think the Mariners are out because, again, they don't have, right now, they don't have anywhere to put them. When I'm making decisions, when I'm making predictions, I'm thinking about what's cleanest. It's not a clean pickup in Seattle. So between the Jays and the Mets, here we go again, right? Here we go again. Jays or Mets. I'm going to go with the Mets. I think he ends up signing with the Mets. I think they make a big splash. They could use the outfielder. The Mets for Suzuki feel like a move. It's not a West Coast team. That's the very first thing we heard out of John Heyman's mouth when he was talking about Suzuki, was that it could be a West Coast team. So I'm going completely upstream from what Heyman's talking about being a West Coast team. I do think it could be a West Coast team, but I will go with the Mets. I think they make a move. This is a big bat. It's a major market. I think it ends up being Suzuki and the Mets. Michael Montas, that is the earliest word is that it's West Coast. But when I start looking at the West Coast team, the Angels aren't going to do it. The Mariners outfield is already full. I don't see the Giants doing it. They have so much money that they have to spend on pitching. I don't think the Dodgers are a realistic play here. So, San Diego maybe, but again, it's not clean for San Diego. When I talk about where teams could go, where players could go, I like a clean path, okay? San Diego has a lot that they have to do. They're going to have to move Myers. They would have to move Hosmer. There's too many pieces that they have to move that makes it a little bit more of a clunky situation. Not as easy to see the path to San Diego. It's an easy path to the Mets right now. Sure, it's the other coast, but you have a team that needs an outfield player. They could use that, and I think it works. Correa family, yeah, that is the play. Like I said, today I'm going completely against the grain, upstream on the whole West Coast talk. I'm picking Mets for today, and we'll see where it lands. Can't you see Cohen absolutely backing up the truck to get this guy? You can see it, right? Come on. If you're going to lose Conforto, the way to ease the fan base is to go get Suzuki. So we talk about Suzuki potentially with the Mets. The other news, again, breaking might be an exaggerated way to put it. I don't want to exaggerate things, but I do think we do have something brewing in South Beach with Sandy Alcantara potentially going back to the Marlins. The word from John Heyman is that Alcantara is close to an extension, close to $55 million for 5 years, north of $55 million. So we'll see where it ends up landing. But you got John Heyman talking about it about 20 minutes ago, that the Marlins are working on an extension with Sandy Alcantara. And that's big because Alcantara had been rumored to be in trade talks with the Toronto Blue Jays. Alcantara and Pablo Lopez, two of the players. Alcantara is the real deal. If you don't know, get to know him. He's entering his age 26 season, and look at his last 2 years. I mean, even look back, 2019, yeah, he lost 14 games, but 2 complete game shutouts, 3.88 ERA in your age 23 season means you're figuring it out, and it's only gotten better from there, I argue, even though the ERA was higher and he had another losing record. But look where he's at. When this team turns it around and is a winning team, Sandy Alcantara is going to be going 15-9. So Alcantara is getting there, right? You look at that rotation. Some of the guys are still trying to figure it out. Alcantara looks like he has figured it out. So he's got that together. We talked about it a few months ago when we looked at the Luzardo trade to the Marlins, that future rotation. Sanchez, Lopez, Luzardo, Alcantara, Rogers, and you've also got Edwards. You've got Edwards there. So there are a lot of pieces, a lot of bright outlook there for the Marlins and that rotation. So if Alcantara gets that extension, 5 years, $55 million, good deal for him, good deal for the Marlins. That'd be a good deal. $55 million, good deal. Yeah, Gavin, Alcantara is scary good. So we may have an Alcantara extension that gets finalized today or tomorrow, which would, at that deal, probably pull him off the trade market for now, but would make him a very enticing piece in a couple years because, again, we look at his stats again. He's entering his age 26 season. So you could be looking, if things don't work out for the Marlins, maybe they trade him in a couple years and he's going to have a really nice team-friendly deal. So he will get a good return if that ends up going down. So we have Sandy going back to the Marlins, coming off the trade market, but entering the trade market, or at least going down in a trade over the weekend, was Brent Honeywell Jr., which an interesting move, because I look at this as a battle of the two of the teams that you sort of, if you see them in a trade, you're wondering if the other team is getting hosed. Well, these two teams have traded with one another. The A's and the Rays make the trade Friday afternoon in the ultimate I'm smarter than you trade. Winner gets the title. How does Brent Honeywell go from here? We will see. David Knight, welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in, David. So you got Honeywell Jr. going from Tampa to Oakland. Honeywell Jr., unfortunately, throughout his career has been really derailed by injuries. You look back, 16, 17, 18. This guy was a top 50, top 25 prospect in all of baseball, agreed upon by Major League Baseball, Baseball Prospectus, Baseball America. Brent Honeywell Jr. was on the rise, and then injuries derailed Honeywell's projection. He finally made his Major League debut in 2021 with the Rays, pitched 2 innings against the Yankees, good innings, didn't give up a hit, struck out a couple batters, but made 2 more appearances that were not so great. His last appearance coming against the Blue Jays. He got roughed up against the Blue Jays. They sent him back down to AAA, and he spent most of the season with AAA. 5-4 record, 31 games, 13 starts, a 3.97 ERA. So Brent Honeywell Jr. now goes to Oakland, which is a good move because when Oakland trades away the bats, the one thing they always make sure to keep intact, and this goes way back to the Moneyball days, they always make sure they have the pitching. Now, what's alarming right now is they're talking about trading Bassett and Montas and Manaea could be moved, but they're restocking, but maybe with Honeywell, and you got to think if those 3 pitchers are going to be available, I can't imagine they're going to trade all 3. So Oakland makes this move for Honeywell to bring in a boost. Jason, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Welcome to our community. Thank you for subscribing. A reminder to everybody, make sure to subscribe if you are new. We're breaking down the latest news, talking about it, and giving you guys an opportunity to react in the chat room. So I appreciate you guys being here and talking. So, William, the Rays always win the trade. Like I said, this trade is the ultimate I'm smarter than you trade. Winner gets the title. Okay? If Honeywell turns out to be a bust in Oakland, then we know forever that the Rays are the trade partner that when they come calling, just hang up the phone. don't even bother. And vice versa with Oakland. If Honeywell turns out to be a beast, Brent Honeywell is entering his age 27 season, so there's still time. Again, if Honeywell turns it on, don't trade them any of your prospects because they know too much. So we go with, we talk about Honeywell getting traded on Friday was an interesting piece of news. And continuing on the trade, bandwagon, John Heyman tweeting out that Oakland, while they have said they are going to trade Matt Olson, they're not giving him away. A major return is what they are expecting. The A's are shooting for the moon with the potential return for Matt Olson. And of course, he's an amazing talent. I had some finalists here, Yankees and Red Sox. Miguel, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Appreciate you subscribing, Miguel. Welcome to our community. I had these 5 as the finalists. I feel like all of these teams fit. The only reason why San Diego maybe doesn't is they got to trade Hosmer first. If they can get rid of Hosmer, then Olson is a great fit in San Diego. But Boston, I don't know if you like the Bobby Dahlbeck experience. You might want to move on from him, and you could have Matt Olson slide right in there. Yankees, they need the lefty bat. There was talk about that, but now the Yankees, that's kind of cooled off a little bit. You're hearing more about Freeman and Rizzo. Might be an indication that Olson's or Oakland's asking price is too high for Olson. The Yankees have the pieces to do it. They certainly do. They could put together a package of players, but do they want to? Maybe they're not looking. This is, the Brewers and the Mariners also fit. We talked about this many times on the channel when it comes to trades. If the options are out there to go and get your answer at a certain position or a certain need, if those options are available on the free agent market, why make the trade? If they could get Rizzo or they could get Schwarber or they could get somebody else to be that lefty first baseman bat, Freddie Freeman, and you don't have to give up the prospects, that's what you do. But once Freeman goes back to Atlanta, once Rizzo signs, if he signs somewhere else, if Schwarber goes to Boston, and all of a sudden the Yankees now have a need that they can't fill via the free agent market, that is when Matt Olson's trade market heats up. Matt Olson, I would be shocked if Olson gets traded before those 3 specifically are signed. Just because, why would you do it? If the asking price is that high and you can get that piece, that production, without having to give up any of your prospects, why would you do it? So I would see Matt Olson, because that return package is high, that trade probably doesn't happen for a little bit of time. I would expect that, that will sort of fall to back page news, and then all of a sudden it'll be right back on everybody's radar once Rizzo signs and Freeman signs and Schwarber signs. Welcome in, everybody. I'm glad that you are here. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Again, if you're new and you're just finding the channel, we're building this community. I would love for you guys to be a part of it, so make sure to subscribe. And again, hit that like. If this is your favorite time of the year, like it is for me, hit that like. And we're battling through. I don't know if you can tell with my voice. I am coming down with something. You guys know, if you've been on the channel, you know what that might be. My son has it, my wife has it, and I've tested twice negative, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's move on. Let's continue to talk about the Yankees, because the Yankees made some surprising news over the weekend. DFA'ing Odor, really wasn't a surprise. Wade, that was a surprise. And maybe the biggest surprise of all, Clint Frazier. Now, DFA does not mean cut, release, none of that. But it does mean another team could come in, swoop in, and take the player. Odor probably makes it through. I mean, they can opt for free agency. They can go to the minors. They can get traded. There's a lot of different things that could happen with these players. Ian Schrock, my favorite team is the Blue Jays. So we see the Yankees making some surprising moves, especially the Clint Frazier, because I really still think Clint Frazier had some trade value and that you could have included him in a package. But here's the thing. There was no real time to do it. You got the deadline to set your 40-man roster for protection from the Rule 5 draft was Friday. So the Yankees really did not have any option. They had to DFA some players. those were some tough decisions. I'm sure Wade and Frazier, they did not want to have to DFA, but they've got prospects coming up through the system that have a higher ceiling they had to protect. So those players hit the market. Sort of a surprise that at least Frazier. Wade's starting to figure it out. Okay, Odor, not so much. And then Clint Frazier, get on the horn. Get Clint Frazier out of there. Trade him. Something before the deadline. Otherwise, they could just lose him for nothing. So we see the Yankees doing that. But maybe even bigger so, we got some new targets. We knew about Seager, but it is being said that the Yankees are also targeting Marcus Semien. Semien is looking for, word is, a 7-year deal, which he's in his early 30s, so that'll take him to his late 30s. Seager probably going to be looking for more about a 10-year deal. If Semien's looking for 7, the end age for his contract will be the same for the end age for all of these younger, Correa and Story and Seager and Baez. They're all in their late 20s, probably looking for 8, 9, 10-year deals, which would take them to their late 30s. Semien looking for a deal to take him to his late 30s, which, of course, why not? Why wouldn't he? But word is the Yankees are really looking at those two closely. Now, whether they can get those deals done, that's another thing that's been disputed. There's talk out there that the Yankees might not get any of those top free agents, those top shortstop free agents, but they are looking into Semien, they are looking into Seager, and that is the word. Kyle, good to see you. Welcome, and Marcus will go back to Toronto before going to New York. He wants nothing to do with New York. I would be surprised to see that as well. And when I heard that news about Semien and the Yankees, I sort of was surprised. We want to talk about it, though, specifically to get that out there. Again, I want everybody to be reminded, everything that I'm talking about comes from a reputable, verified, either source, Twitter, a blog, reputable blog, not a garbage blog, somebody's blog that they just started and decided to make stuff up, and local news outlets. Talk about NBC Sports Chicago and the Gausman News. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. So everything comes from verified, reputable accounts, sources, things like that. Nothing's made up. So I still like the idea of my prediction, Semien potentially going to Miami. There has been absolutely no talk about that. That's my own prediction. And Seager to go back to the Dodgers. But if Seager does not go back to the Dodgers, I love the Yankees as the fit for Corey Seager. Sort of fixes a lot of their problems. So we'll see what ends up happening with Seager, Semien, Yankees. What are they going to do? Do they get left out in the cold? Do they get shut out from all of these prospects? It's a possibility. So we will see. Thinking about Semien, thinking about the Blue Jays, we have heard that the Blue Jays are looking at 3 targets for their starting pitching slots. 2 of them, we know, Robbie Ray, Steven Matz. The third one, Kevin Gausman. Jays looking to make the rotation a priority. In fact, we're hearing more about the Jays and rotation moves than we are anything with the lineup right now. We heard the Jays linked to Erod. We heard the Jays linked to trades with Miami for Alcantara. We've heard the Jays trying to get maybe Ray and Matz back together. And we heard starting Friday and some more smoke over the weekend, Gausman is on their radar. They're targeting Kevin Gausman. So what the Jays do is interesting. The timing, all kind of fascinating here, because if you get a Gausman deal done first, does that mean Robbie Ray is bye-bye? If you get a Matz deal done, could still go either way. Or is the Matz deal, depending on the dollars, going to give you an idea on what's going on with Gausman and Ray? Who goes first? It's going to be very fascinating, but you got to think Gausman's in the mix for a lot of teams. Giants, certainly, his old team, have to be a favorite to be right there down to the wire to bring him back. But what the Blue Jays do at starting pitcher is going to be interesting. And if they go Gausman, then they get a nice pitcher, right, coming off a career year, 14-6 with a 2.81 ERA. But we talked about it in my video yesterday. The second half of the year was not good for Kevin Gausman. 4.42 ERA in the second half with a 1.73 whip. 1.73 ERA in the first half. The ERA, the whip, all ballooning in the second half of the year. But the Jays might look at it and be like, you know what, we're not concerned about that. We talked about this the other day as well with the Gausman video. It's the hard hit rate and the exit velo you don't love, but you do like the K rate, the whiff rate, the chase rate, all good. Split finger pitcher with the fastball and the slider. That combination, he gets a lot of outs, a lot of swings and misses with the splitter, with the slider, with the fastball sort of setting that up. So Gausman, that's how he does. But the problem is, if you hit him, you're hitting him hard. You know, some pitchers, you got ground ball pitchers, you got fly ball pitchers. That exit velo is not a big deal, but with him it is. So he really needs to miss bats. That's kind of the case with everybody, but even more so with Gausman, because when they are getting hits, they're hitting him hard. He's got to get that together, and maybe Pete Walker can fix that. We know Pete Walker is the whisperer when it comes to that. The Jays rotation, Barrios, Ryu, Manoah, we know that. But what falls next? Ray, Matz, Gausman, one of those three, two of those three? How does that fall? And where does Nate Pearson fall in? Nate Pearson was supposed to be a fixture in this rotation, and with the Blue Jays now all of a sudden entering this mode of, we think we can win the World Series next year. We think we can make a deep run next year. They don't have time all of a sudden to give Nate Pearson 100 innings to figure it out, because this is an important window. Those figure-it-out innings for Nate Pearson might need to come in the bullpen, so they go out and they get the starting pitchers. And then maybe when Ryu is ready to move on, Nate Pearson slides into that. Or maybe there are, maybe Manoah regresses. Or maybe, trades happen. Maybe whatever, you can work Pearson back into it. But starting to look like Nate Pearson might be on the out. Now, if the Blue Jays only sign Robbie Ray or only Kevin Gausman, then you could see Nate Pearson ending up with the number 5 spot in that rotation. But we have thoughts there. We have to see how this kind of all plays out. What do the Blue Jays do with that starting again? We know the word is the 3 targets are these guys. Those are the 3 that we're hearing the most about right now, with that Alcantara deal looking like there could be an extension. Potentially, that's coming because they could not work out a deal. Maybe Miami wanted too much. We'll kind of see what that is. Let's see, Jay, you want Gausman back in the Bay. I think the Giants will certainly be a finalist for Kevin Gausman. We did have a couple of signings. We're talking about rumors, but we also are going to talk about what is actually happening out there. And we had a signing. Pedro Severino has signed with the Brewers. Severino, in my opinion, is the best catcher that was out there on the free agent market. He has signed with the Milwaukee Brewers. It's a 1-year deal. He will go out and he will be there with Narvaez. It's a nice combination there for the Brewers if they have 2 good bats. Pedro Severino was outrighted by the Orioles at the start of free agency, which just made no sense to me. You got a catcher in his prime, in part-time duty, a 700 OPS guy, 11 home runs last year in 113 games. If you put that out there, you have a situation, again, you look at the catching market, how thin it was to just let him go, to not try to trade him. Bad move by the Orioles. Just more evidence to me that the Orioles don't know which way is up. So Pedro Severino, a nice player in his prime, goes to Milwaukee to play with Narvaez. Those 2 will split the gig. And Severino, again, the best catcher on the open market right now. Shocked that the Orioles just said, okay, see ya. That made no sense to me. The other piece of news that we have, let's see, Anthony, about Corey and Kyle. Fire it up again. How about a package of Corey and Kyle to the Marlins and then they're not going to have that much money to spend, Anthony. They're not going to have that much money to spend. I do think they could get Corey Seager. They could get Nick Castellanos. They could get one of those 2. And then certainly if you have Corey Seager come on board, maybe you get Kyle Seager for not much. You could see the 2 Seagers end up there. There is certainly some thought about maybe there's a landing spot for both of them. I think it's unlikely that they end up on the same team. The other piece of news, the other signing that we have was Jose Quintana signing with the Pirates. Now, you might think, big whoop, Jose Quintana, he doesn't have anything. But the Pirates, it's a good deal for them. they will be. It's a deal where, listen, if I'm the Pirates, I try to get Quintana on a 2-year deal, or at least 1 year with a club option, because if Quintana can somehow bring back that 2012 to 2017 version of himself, he would be a great trade piece for the Pittsburgh Pirates coming up at a trade deadline. You see what Quintana did with the White Sox from 2012 to 2017. He was a good pitcher. It fell apart with the Cubs. Then he went to LA, and it was a complete disaster this year. Giants picked him up, threw him in the bullpen, gave him a couple of appearances. It was nothing. But Quintana, he's going to be entering his age 33 season, so he shouldn't be done yet. But you got to think that maybe there's an upside there. So I would have loved to see the Pirates bring Quintana in, again, on a 1-year deal, $2 million option with a club option for a second year. But word is it's just a 1-year deal. He will be trade deadline bait. You would get more from him if you had another year. But at the very least, he's going to eat some innings. I actually expect a quality season out of him. Not great. Give me an ERA in the high 3s for Quintana, which, again, will make him trade bait. Teams like that, that's a smart move by the Pirates. Teams like that need to take chances, need to get guys that they can then flip at the end of July. So we talk about Quintana to the Pirates. And again, everybody that is just here, thank you for hopping in. We have gone through a lot to this point. We have talked about Suzuki and Sandy and Honeywell and Olson and the Yankees and the Blue Jays. We have covered a lot. We talk about Severino. We talk about Quintana. We have a lot, and we keep watching. So make sure to subscribe and stay close to the channel. We do the live thing every day. I think tomorrow we're actually going to be live at night. I think we're going to do an evening stream tomorrow. But 11 a.m. has been the usual time. That's the plan. We'll be live today. We'll be live tomorrow. Probably be live on Wednesday. And then we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have a premiere, or we'll do something for Thanksgiving. I know it's a funny week with the it's a funny week with the holiday. So we talk about all of that, and I think the biggest news. And again, I want to cover this again. We talked about it at the beginning. And actually, let me do one thing first here. Let's talk about Suzuki. So we talked about it at the beginning. It is the first thing that the first copy in our. I'm just moving things around, guys. Bear with me. Our first piece of copy in the description. So anybody that might be hopping in looking for any kind of content on Suzuki, this is Seiya Suzuki Day. He is being posted today. We should start hearing more. The early word from John Heyman is that a West Coast team is expected to be sort of at the top of the list for Suzuki. You're looking at the Padres. You're looking at Seattle. You're looking at San Francisco. I think as the most likely teams. I also think there will be teams that get into this thing outside of the West Coast. Again, we're going to look at the Mariners. We're going to look at the Giants. I think Toronto gets in the mix. Toronto was in the mix for Ha-Sung Kim. Only reason they didn't get Kim is because they would not offer him a minors excluded deal. San Diego did put a majors only deal, and we have the Mets as one of the finalists. So these are my finalists, okay? Seattle, San Francisco, the Mets, and the Blue Jays are my finalists. I think Toronto will get in the mix. I think Seattle, San Francisco, the Mets. You can see Steve Cohen just ready to back the truck up for Suzuki. And ultimately, I think the Blue Jays bow out because I think the price gets too steep. The Blue Jays right now have a 4-man outfield, so that is not a pressing need. I think the Giants, I think the price gets too steep for them. They have a ton of pitching that they need to address. I think the Mariners, they also have a situation where once J-Rod is there, they have a 4-man outfield, so the cleanest path takes him out of the West Coast and puts him on the Mets, in my opinion. I think that you have a need with Conforto. not taking the qualifying offer. So all of a sudden, Suzuki to the Mets, there's a clean path there. I know it's not a West Coast team, and that's what we're going to hear about for a while. But I can see Cohen backing up the truck. I see the fit there. It works. It makes sense. You take him to the major market. So I say Mets. Again, we're talking about the teams on the West Coast, okay, when we're talking about Suzuki. The Dodgers are not going to do it. The Dodgers are going to go try to bring Scherzer back. They're going to try to bring Kershaw back. Merv, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to Ballcap Nation. Thank you for joining our community. Thank you for subscribing. So you're going to have a situation with the Dodgers have to get Seager and Kershaw done. The Giants have to get all of that pitching signed. They have so much money. They have to spend all that money on pitching. Now, they could still get in the mix here, but I think they're looking at, if they've budgeted out, I think Suzuki's going to cost a ton of money. And I think that they're going to be looking at the pitching. The Padres, they've got to move Hosmer. They got to move Myers. They have too many things that they have to do before they can go and get Suzuki. So I think the Padres fall out. We know that Oakland is not going to get in the mix. Seattle, the four-man outfield. I just don't. You're going to have to trade Mitch Haniger. You're going to have to trade. They have a five-man outfield, okay, in Seattle once J-Rod gets there. So they're overloaded. So with all of that in line, I'm trying to think of another West Coast team. We covered in the Angels. The Angels are going to spend their money. They're going to be focused on pitching. So with all of that in mind, I think Suzuki ends up in a situation where he ends up just moving off the West Coast. And ends up moving and playing with an East Coast team is where I think Suzuki will end up going. So we'll keep an eye on that, and certainly as we get more news, once he's posted officially, we are going to start to hear teams, and we're going to cover that. We're going to talk about that. I wanted to get into the Suzuki thing because, again, that's going to be big news today. Again, looking at Suzuki from a player perspective, I love, as we take a look at and we analyze his swing, everything about this swing. All right, there's just so much to love. The ball explodes off of his bat. It's a nice, clean swing through the zone. There's not a lot of extra movement. The hands move specifically with the purpose to hit the ball. It's not a bunch of garbage to look cute before the swing. There is no movement with the hands other than through the zone. The head is down. The head to the front foot is a straight line. Everything is beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at that. Looks like Mike Trout. I'm not saying Suzuki's Mike Trout. Okay, let me preface that. But I absolutely love everything about Suzuki's swing. The numbers that he has put up, Suzuki, in my opinion, looks like he is going to be the real deal. These are his numbers. 2021, 38 homers. Listen, these are numbers from a different league. You got to toss some of it out. But if he's done that well, 1,000 OPS in 2021, a 953 in 2020, a 1,018 in 2019, 1,064 in he has dominated that league. He's in his prime. So good things coming. And Tommy King, right? That's what I'm saying. I don't want to call him Mike Trout because then people are going to run and say that we're calling him Mike Trout. We're not calling him Mike Trout. But there's some similarities there. It looks good. Everything looks good. Mike Trout, one of the things you love about Mike Trout's swing is that he's just up there to hit the ball. He's not up there to do anything, to look good on camera, to do it. He's up there to hit the ball. And that is what Suzuki looks like. He looks like he is up there to hit the ball. So all good stuff there from Suzuki, and we love that. One thing I do want to talk about, I want to remind you guys about the Thanksgiving FanDuel contest that we are going to be making. This week will be done once tonight's game is finished up. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be starting up. I'm going to be opening, creating the Ballcap Sports Thanksgiving FanDuel experience, the contest. That will go live. You guys will just have to send me your information. If you need to sign up for FanDuel, there is a link in the description for you to sign up. So that way you can, again, create the username, hop on into that, and then you can send me your username. Great thing about this is it's only going to be a $5 entry. This is not a big time, $1,000 big money, high stakes kind of thing. We want this to be fun. We want you guys to have a good time. So it's only going to be a $5 entry. Again, just need you to send me your username. You can either comment it, you can tweet it at me at Jim Riley Live on Twitter, or you can email it to me. My email is available through the my homepage on YouTube and in the About tab. You can find my email though. So you send me that and you're in using the custom link to get signed up and get started playing with FanDuel today. If you're already signed up, again, that's cool. This is welcome to people who need to sign up. Or if you already have an account, that's all right. If you are starting the new account, FanDuel will match 20% of the deposit up to $500. I said it before, I like daily fantasy because when you win, the winnings come right away. My absolute favorite part is that I'm not stuck with the players who I drafted at the beginning of the season who are playing terribly or are hurt. You just play with the players who are hot, who have the best matchup. So make sure to do that. Also, if you're creating an account, be sure to send me a screenshot of the account that you have created, because if we can get enough accounts created, we will do a jersey giveaway. So we thank FanDuel for being a part of the channel, and I thank you guys for being here. It's a great experience having them as a partner, and I hope you guys are able to join our Thanksgiving week contest that I will be starting next week. So we take a look at all of the latest news and we keep watching it. You guys, I totally, this is a lot of fun for me. I hope you have fun with it too. This is my favorite time of the year. I've talked about it. I love this time of year. I love the GM aspect of it. We're all playing GM in our own heads, which is what's really fun. So I hope you guys enjoy that as well. Make sure to hit that like if you haven't hit the like yet, and subscribe if you're new. Would love to continue the growth. We're having phenomenal growth on the channel right now. So make sure to subscribe. This is what I do. Every day I'm thinking about this channel. I'm watching what's going on. I want you guys to have a place where you can come in and react and chat as well. This is what we're going to do. For those of you who are watching the replay, this is where we're going to cut off. If you're live, stay with me. We're going to keep going live for a little bit longer. So for those catching the replay, I appreciate you watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe. We will be live again on Tuesday. We're talking more baseball, talking more news. I'm sure there's going to be more deals to cover. So we're going to do all that. Make sure to, again, subscribe, like. I will add some links to some of the other free agent content. I'll add those links now. Again, if you're live, stay with me. We're going to keep going. For those of you watching the replay, thank you for spending some time with the channel, and thank you for watching the video.